Thank you for attending this press conference. Over the past several days, I've received a number of calls from people closely aligned to APNU AFC that we should ease off on speaking and give APNU a chance to save face and recover, because they're prone to do desperate things if they feel defeated and we box them into a corner. But we can't do so because of the series of lies that they continue to tell to the people of this country. They've rolled out all of the has-beens, and they're back on television trying to change what actually took place on Elections Day. And we will never allow them to succeed. They are the only party that publicly in their PR would make failure a virtue. They have a unique ability to do this. And they have been misleading a lot of people, I think. As I said before, sensible people question what they say. But there's a whole group out there who would accept in an unquestioning manner what they've said or they're saying. So today I want to respond to some of the things that the country has had to suffer from in the past maybe few hours since my last press engagement. But before I do so, I just want to share with you so that you get an overall picture. From our internal calculations, the PPP has won 906 of the 1,220 seats contesting at the last local government elections. This is up from 779 seats in 2018. In 2018, APNU and AFC combined won 390 seats. In these elections, they're down to 275 seats. So if you look at that, the PPP won about 75% of the seats that were contested in these elections. Now, 75% of all the seats contested in the country, both PR and constituency seats, were won by the PPP. And yet, they will tell you, APNU has won about 22% of those seats. And the other groups that contested elections, the independent groups, and have won about 3%, just over 3%. So that will give you 100% of the seats contested. And they are saying to people in this country that they won these elections and they made great inroads, and that the PPP, all of this spin doctors, etc., did not achieve what it set out to do. We have won 906 of 1,220 seats. by any definition anywhere in the world. 75% win is a massive win. People call a landslide 20%. I said, if we cross the 60 LAA threshold, then that will be a massive victory for us. And we've won the majority of the votes. We outright win, we had more than 60 LAAs, and we had about 66 overall, where we won the largest number of votes in those areas. So that is a fact. APNU cannot change this. GHKLAL cannot change this. The CATIUs, who's been speaking, cannot change this. Norton can change this. This is a fact. The PPP has won 75%, nearly 75% of the seats contested. So that's fact one. I want to respond because apparently they had a press conference. Today is it June 15th? So they had a press conference earlier today. And I had a chance to because their press conference just ended, and so some of the notes came to me. And before I came here, I had a quick check on some of the figures. So one of their claims at the press conference that they just concluded minutes ago is that the APNU made inroads. For example, in Pletanka, which is a PPP stronghold. So they mention Pletanka. Now the fact is that, yes, APNU won the Pletanka constituency vote by 5, and their 5 tendered ballots were issued by the RO, the PO. We asked for a recount. On the 5 tendered ballots, they all voted for PPP. He made an error in issuing tendered ballots. And that is why I explained to you the last time why we asked for a recount. We don't know how GCOM will deal with that matter because it is not error in the vote, it's an error in the PO giving the wrong ballot. So if GCOM accepts this, that Pletanka constituency will be tied. And then you'd probably have to have a runoff. But even if APNU wins there. But what they didn't tell you in that same LAA, that they won Cuthbert East the last time, and we now won that constituency in the same LAA. And in Pletanka itself, on the PR votes, they got 21, and we got 39. So they won the constituency they got 32 votes, we got 27, so by 5. But in the same Pletanka, we won the PR vote 39 to 21 in favor of PPP. So this is a lie. They didn't make major inroads into Pletanka. In fact, we flipped one of their constituencies, which is Cuthbert East. You can check the numbers. GCOM has been publishing these. This is a lie that they just told a few minutes ago when asked about where they made inroads. Further, Norton said, we maintain our strongholds and picked up votes. In all our areas on Region 5, it was a whitewash. So let's look at this. First of all, the last time in Region 5, the Woodland Farm NDC was tied. We won that NDC now, outright. So that's not true. It was not a whitewash in Region 5. We won several NDCs in Region 5. But look at, if you go through the results more, you will see that at number 5 village, in 2018, we had 2 votes. In 2023, it increased to 206 votes. From 2 to 206 in number 5 village, which is a stronghold of APNU. So who made inroads? It was not whitewash, that's one. Seafield Tempe, NDC, our seats moved from 3 to 6 now, again in Region 5. In Hamlet Chance, we could not even field candidates for some constituencies there. We did so this time. Our votes moved from 17 to 102. So another set of lies told by Norton and his cabal, that it was a whitewash in the whole of Region 5 and that they made inroads. They claimed they made inroads in Region 5 in Blaemont, where in 2018, that is the Blaemont-Gilberland NDC, APNU got 265, and now they have 378, I think. And, but, hold on a minute, so it looks like it's on the fact of it from 265 to 378. But when you add the AFC vote, because they contested separately, they actually had lower votes than the APNU AFC combined. Significantly lower votes than the two combined. And they were in government. You remember they were in government together when they contested, although they contested separately. So it's like Massa Cow, Massa Bull. So people voted for them. So when you combine the two votes, AFC and APNU in 2018, they got less votes in these elections than the combined votes at that time in Blaemont, Gilberland, and the NDC. So again, they did not pick up votes there. In fact, they lost votes. In Buxton Falls, that's true. APNU, that's the only fact that is spoke. We won the NDC narrowly the last time, and APNU won it this time. So let's look at what the results were. But if you go into some details of it, in constituency 1, which is Buxton, the last time we couldn't field a candidate. This time we have 114 votes there. Couldn't field a candidate in 2018, we have 114 votes there. In constituency 2, again, which is Friendship, we didn't field a candidate there in 2018. Now we got 40 votes in that area. In Melanie, we had 36 votes. It moved to 125 in that constituency, difference of 8 to 9. So we picked up, even in their strongholds, significant votes. Even in the stronghold, in places where we couldn't field candidates before. So that was the only truthful thing they said about winning the local government area, but they didn't tell the whole picture, that we made, again, inroads into these areas. So I'm going to come back to the press conference for a moment, but I wanted to talk to you about, go back and talk a bit about Georgetown, because you've heard a lot about, from all sorts of people, Gordon Mosley and Starbuck News and many others, saying that we were predicting a win in the city and we failed. Well, if you know me by now and you listen to our candidate, the campaign rhetoric is different than when we speak. Every single time I was asked at this press conference, I said, we're not making predictions, we're waging a campaign. People go into campaign to win. They never go into a campaign to lose. But we are aware of how difficult in many of these areas it will be. These are strongholds of the APNU. So I have seen a lot of people talk about how APNU staved off the PPP in Georgetown and even increased their votes. Again, APNU got in 2018, so the turnout, first of all, moved up by about 5 percentage points. It was 24, it's about 29% turnout now. So higher turnout in the city. APNU got 18,127 votes in 2018. Now they got 20,839 votes. So on the face of it, an increase of 2,712 votes that they are boasting about, that they increased their votes in the city. Gordon Mosley and the others getting ecstatic about this. Increased their votes. But AFC got, which I don't see in the analysis, and someone did a brilliant piece, I think. I don't know who did it, but in the city, which has been very helpful. I'll show you it in a moment. But I think they missed this, that the AFC vote in 2018 was 3,059. So combined, they got 21,186 votes in 2018. In these elections, they got 20,839, a drop of 374 votes, or 1.6%. So their votes in the city actually declined. It did not increase by 2,712, as everyone is portraying now. I see they're talking about it and some of the analysis being done, and the headlines screaming, APNU increased their votes. They did not increase their votes, because these were a party that were together in government, that just contested separately at the local government level. But when combined, you look now, so they've lost votes in the city from 2018. There was no increase. On the other hand, the PPP's vote was 7,050 in 2018, and it has grown to 12,553, with a higher turnout in the city. We got 5,503 votes more than in 2018, and APNU lost votes, 347 votes. So we increase our votes. They had a decline, and we increase our votes in Georgetown by 78%. That is it. And if you look at some of the constituencies, you will see how close the race was in many of them. One we lost by 4 votes, another by 166 votes, another one by 200 odd votes. With maybe another few hundred votes, we could have flipped the city, because we lost about 3 or 4 constituencies narrowly. And the gain was across the city. In one, it was 498 votes more than 2015, constituency 1. In 2, it was 376. In 3, 240. In 4, 421. In 5, 528. In 6, 287. In 7, 187. In 8, 309. In 9, 367. In 10, 473. In 11, 331. In 12, 489. In 13, 468. In 14, 315. And in 15, 81. But that's a very small constituency with only maybe 1,000 votes that were cast. So you see gains right across the city. Right across the city in strongholds. That is the true picture that they will like to hide from you. That is the picture of Georgetown. 1, we moved from 7 to 11 seats, could have won many more constituencies with just a few more votes, and because the margin was narrow. APNU lost votes in the city with a higher turnout. APNU AFC lost votes in the city. We increased our votes by 78%. This is a major, major feat for candidates and those who work in the city in a stronghold of APNU. In a stronghold of APNU. They behave in a way I don't understand. There's about, oh, it's a failure, they didn't win the city. This is your stronghold. You got a trashing in your stronghold because of the campaign that people wage, our candidates. We went to every home. We talked to people. We took a flyer to them. In the most remote corners of the city, we went there. We told them what we were about, and people believed us, and 5,000 of them more voted for us in the city. On the other hand, you, in your stronghold, you lost votes with a higher turnout in the city. So this is a trashing, a defeat by any standard, and no amount of spin will change this. And that's what I urge people to analyze the numbers. So whoever did this table, which has been really helpful to a lot of people because they've been sharing it around, they only use the APNU field. They need to use APNU plus AFC for 2018. And then you will see the true picture. Because as I said before, they were contesting, they were in the government together. So in Bartica, we saw some Estival Lake posted something in on the APNU page, claiming that basically that the PPP didn't win the area, making light of the PR vote, and then Norton and the others saying that we brought in people from other places to vote in Bartica. Typical APNU explanations for defeat in the area. So what are the facts? Again, if you look at the figures declared by GCOM, which they can't disappear from, in 2018, APNU AFC had 1,767 votes. In these elections, their lost votes, they got 1,601 votes, losing 166 votes. The PPP votes moved from 1,145 to 1,784. We increased our votes by 639, which is a 79% increase. So what are the facts again? That more people voted for the PPP, a significant number more than APNU. Over 160 more voted for PPP than APNU. And the PPP increased its vote by 79%. AFC lost votes in Bartica from 2018. And the turnout was about the same level. So that is a fact. APNU lost votes in Bartica. The PPP gained by 79%. Similar to the city, we increased our votes there. In Madhya, again, I see all sorts of things about Madhya. Let me go through this again. The combined APNU AFC vote was 349 in 2018. They got 327 votes this time. They lost about 6% of the votes. Again, they lost votes there, or 22 votes. The PPP's vote moved from 91 to 330. That's over 260% increase in our votes. And you had higher turnout in this area, about 42% compared to 35% in 2018. So we've seen a pattern here. Georgetown, they lost votes from 2018. Bartica, they lost votes from 2018. Madhya, they lost votes from 2018, whilst the PPP has increased by nearly 80% in two of the areas and 260% in one area, in Madhya. Let's continue. So, in New Amsterdam, the combined vote for APNU AFC in 2018 was 2,888 votes. In these elections, they got 3,074 votes. So they got 82 votes more than in 2018, which is a 6.4% increase. Now the PPP, on the other hand, got 1,095 votes in 2018 and 2,337 votes in these elections. So we got 1,242 votes more than 2018. They got 82 votes more, which is about 113% increase. And the voters' turnout increased significantly from 29% to about 37%. So with higher voter turnout, we got a massive increase of over 100%, and APNU got an increase of 6%. So the pattern is holding in all the areas. Massive increases for the PPP, APNU either losing votes or barely scraping another 82 votes here over the 2018, although you had a massive increase there. In Linden, again, so here the combined votes was 4,681 votes in 2018. In these elections, APNU got 7,998 votes, so they increased their votes by 58%, or 3,317 votes. A major increase here. So the turnout moved from 20% to 36% here in Linden. But look at the PPP. The PPP got 402 votes here in 2018 and now got 2,464 votes. So an increase of over 2,062 votes, which is over 500%. They got 58% increase. We got a 500% increase with a fairly large number of voters, over 2,000 voters. That's success too. That's the only area where they actually had, with a higher turnout, they actually had more votes. In Kwakwani, well, those are the tongues. In Bartica, in Letem, we swept all the seats, as you know. So those are the tongues. And in almost all of the other areas, I'm not even dealing with Rose Hall and Corriverton and Anna Regina, because those are clear. They don't even make claims about those. Kwakwani now, not a stronghold. APNU's vote moved from 386 to 528, a 36% increase. The PPP's vote moved from 135 to 424, a 214% increase. Again, major inroads here. So I don't understand. This is not just inroads. Like, this is like major impact in these communities. Like in New Amsterdam, it's 6 to 8 now seats, down from 11-3. And in all of these areas, we have picked up more support. So what is it precisely that you're claiming victory about, or saying you did well? Where did you do well? In the areas that they are listed, I already pointed out they are lying in many of the areas, the generalization about the sweeping Region 5, Platanka, Blaymont, NDC. They're just lying about a lot of these things. It's not true. And so, this is the record of the PPP. And once again, I wish to thank all of the people who worked to deliver these results, from the people who came to us and supported us. And let me assure them once again that I've seen the rumors, or APNU rumor mill, spreading a lot of lies, which I'll address in a moment. But let me assure them that every single promise made by us on the campaign trail, the reason we went out, joined the campaign, is to give people the assurance that every promise made by the candidates of the PPP, because we had a look at what they were promising, that they didn't become outrageous, the promises, that we stand behind those promises. So in every area, that and we're encouraged by the results. We're encouraged to work harder everywhere. In Kwakwani, in Linden, in New Amsterdam, in South Georgetown, in North Georgetown, in Bartica, in Madhya, in the PPP strongholds, let them, everywhere else, Portmore, all of these areas where we didn't have even contests. We're encouraged to work because of these results, harder in these communities. They talk about turnout is a rejection of the PPP. That's another thing. So they had a lower turnout when they were in office. Actually, very much lower turnout in many areas. And these are local government elections. You expect, I told you here that our biggest battle is about complacency. Not that people don't support, but they often believe that we are at the national level, we won the election, so they don't need to come out for local government elections. And so they should be worried that with such a turnout, that we trumps them. Much less if we had a higher turnout. In fact, they don't think sometimes what they say. They don't think about that, what they say. So let me deal with a couple of issues that we've been hearing again at the press conference. So I dealt with the one about we brought in people from outside Bartica to vote. They think people are stupid. So they said infighting by the PPP, where we have infighting now because of these results. So right now, today, the entire party machinery has had to go around the country. They're starting today and tomorrow to work with the LAs, all 80, to select our PR candidates, because we won a large number of PR seats too, apart from the constituency candidates, so that we can submit these names next week to GCOM. The entire party machinery is working in these areas now, consulting with people to see that we select the best candidates on the PR side to go forward. The party is busy at work now. And we have a lot of work to do because we won in a lot of areas. They probably have less because they didn't win in so many areas. So the party is mobilized, ready, excited. I've spoken to every party member and supporter that wanted to speak with me, and they're all excited about not only these prospects of winning larger votes in traditional areas, but also the excitement about the results that they saw and the defiance of all of the predictions and the lies and everything else in APNU stronghold for people. It has done a great deal for the party psyche, and our members are ready to work even harder. That's what I get from them wherever they are. So the party doesn't have infighting. Now we know the converse is not true. That in APNU's case, there was a plan to remove Norton hatched even before the local government elections. And sometimes I pity Norton. Let me be frank with you, and I can speak my mind now. Because when you have cutthroats like Roysdale Ford and Amanza Walton and Mai Paul and the others, just hoping you would fail so they can come after you, then it must be a lonely place for him in Congress Place. Must be a lonely place. He probably wouldn't even know who to trust in the area. So sometimes I empathize with him on that basis, because it's not easy to launch a campaign. So Roysdale Ford, you didn't see him on the whole campaign now for APNU. Stayed away, and in many cases undermined Norton, and now suddenly he has emerged with a statement to talk about local government elections. He was busy campaigning to dislodge Norton all along with some institute that he created, some institute for discrimination and all sorts of things that he was talking about. So recently I saw, what was his thing? He had a long live local democracy in Guyana. Roysdale Ford has appeared now. Couldn't come out the entire campaign, didn't walk the ground, didn't support Norton. and now talks about, in a very lofty style, but full of fluff, in about this. He's positioning himself to tackle Norton very soon. And you recall Mai Paul and Roysdale Ford trying to get the treasurer to undermine Norton with a blank check issue. So I expect the hungs to go after Norton now. And he's now making it easier for himself by sometimes the utter nonsense that he says at these press conferences. So they will go after him. So when you talk about infighting in the PPP, they have a they've had infighting, and they are going to continue to do this for a long time in the future. A number of people have called me from their side. They share information with us, but from the inside about all that's going on. And it's not a pretty picture that you can paint about their state of affairs there. They can't, it's a deeply divided party, some based on failures of the past. Lots of the characters who are still there come with baggage. Roysdale Ford come with a baggage from the Gaming Commission. Mai Paul with baggage from UG and other places. I can go down the list. Today I don't want to do that, but they have a lot of baggage coming. And some of them were the ones that wrought the havoc on the lives of the people of this country in the 5 years. Had no concern for them. And had no regard for accountability. And at Ferguson and the others, you recall, no submissions of their statement to the Integrity Commission. So it is a motley bunch that is fighting for power internally there, and it's not a good picture. So they can talk about infighting in the PPP. That's what they just said at their press conference. But we know what's going on in the PNC. We know about the undermining, and with social media, activists has been recruited by which side to run down each other's. You're going to see it get nastier by the day. So that's one, the first thing I wanted to say. Two, the next lie is, they said at the press conference today, is the day after the elections, while the results were coming, many of the workers had contracts rescinded. In South Georgetown, they said mainly. Now, this is only a party that has no shame would lie like this. I just told you about our great success in many of their strongholds in South Georgetown. I've given you the numbers. And they said that we were rescinding contracts to people. And they spread another rumor that we're going to fire all the part-time workers. We never asked the part-time workers like they would have done, bully them into voting for the PP. We hope they'll vote PPP because they got a job under the PP that they didn't get under APNU. Not a job, but that's why you're here. You provide jobs to people, you provide better health care, you look after them better, and you hope they vote for you. And you campaign on it. We have no shame about doing that, we hope, but we didn't bully them. APNU would have bullied them. APNU would have bullied them. They have a long history of doing that. And so, let me say to any person who had a contract, even in an APNU stronghold, any part of the country, we will not, it's a rumor that we've rescinded any contract. Particularly on election day, they said we rescinded the contract. Two, we're not firing any part-time worker. In fact, we hope to expand the scheme. Three, the business grant that we've had, we will continue. In many parts of the country, people will continue to get their help with the business grant. So please don't listen to the rumors spread by these desperate people. What we will ensure, however, is Deron Adams and Solomon and the others don't get their hands on these people's contracts so that they can convert them into their own use. And we know what they've done in the past. They will not have that. And we will not allow them to bully and intimidate the voters. I've had called some people. Look at what they tried to do with the leader of our list from Linden, who is a doctor and a pastor. They tried to vilify him every day, urge people not to go to his church, and all sorts of things. Threaten him personally. And he stood his ground. This was before the election. He stood his ground because he's a very dignified person. If you have a chance to talk to him, you'd find out how dignified and conscientious he is. Nothing like the Sharma Solomons and the Vanessa Kissoons, who are just looking to profit from people's misery. Very dignified, the individual. And he withstood all of that criticism, but simply because he made a choice to support the PPP. And their work, he and the others in Linden worked very hard, and they yielded phenomenal results, and in Kwakwani too. So I know they were pumped up, and I want sold out, and many of them reporting to us, rebuffing them. In New Amsterdam, there have been a lot of calls to people, look, you have to come back to the APNU, and people, a lot of our candidates have said, to what? Failure? So in many of these areas, people are rejecting the negative vibes that they're coming up, and this assault on people. I saw again, they talk about the voters list on residency. Somehow I don't know if this is right, but Norton said that you don't need a constitutional amendment to change the residency requirement. But it could be the notes that I got, because they just concluded their press conference. I don't expect him to be that silly, but if he actually said that, watch if he said that, then put it down as the ranting of a madman for that, if he actually said that. Now, I wanted to talk a bit about Cathy Hughes. Suddenly she emerged, Cathy Hughes, and laughing. She did an op-ed, I don't know in which paper or where, laughing on the outside, crying on the inside. PPP's contrived happiness attempts to conceal defeat in local government elections. Can anybody ask this person if he has a modicum of integrity? We're concealing our defeat in the local government elections. The AFC, which was quietly campaigning, Ramjatan and all the others telling people to vote for APNU. They did this everywhere in our strongholds, etc., thinking that the support that they got in 2015 would have somehow rubbed off and gone to APNU. It did not happen. They were busy campaigning, although they said they're not contesting, because they did not want to split the vote. And that is something else. In Georgetown, in 2018, we won in some areas because there was a split of the votes between the two. Here we won outright in some of these constituencies, the 5 constituencies, outright in a face-to-face contest with APNU, party to party. So Cathy Hughes has come down, and she has a lot of bad things to say about everybody under the sun. Patricia Chase Green and Malcolm Ferreira and Tricia Richards, and many of the others. This is a vile character. She has this pretense at intellectualism, but she is hollow. And I tell you, sometimes it's difficult to stand the repulsiveness of her. She is contrived. She presents an air of being smart. Now, when you look at her record under the last 5 years, this was one of the ministers that would engage in corrupt activities. I'm saying that because she got contracts in her own ministry for her own company. When she was minister, she was signing checks on behalf of the company. And that same company was getting contracts in her ministry. We know about, and she suddenly surfaces again to talk about local government results. And Glenn Lal, cousin or family, GHK Lal, I think. So I think he was very racist. He said that we share cook-up rice to people, you know, with an ethnic connotation. I think he's very racist. Now we got a little hustle with music and cook-up rice to get some more votes. And then at the end, he said Guyanese voters stuck to their own. Indians for PPP, Africans for PNC. If the race issue is solved, people like GHK Lal have no role in this country. They thrive, they profit from this sort of division of our people. And that is why a lot of them, including the Anugs, I heard he was saying something, one of them from Anug, the Timothy Jonas and the others. And at some point in time, I'll deal with Anug. I'll deal with all the lies and their behavior at some point in time. But there will be no role for them once we solve the race problem. That is why they're reacting this way, because they've recognized now that the PPP won votes in many areas that are 100% Afro-Guyanese and significant number of votes. So that means people are moving away from voting on the basis of race to issues. And this is their biggest problem. They go mad every night about this sort of thing. They go mad. So PPP get bad licks. And some PPP supporters openly admit this. He heard that from some PPP supporter. Well, probably Glenn Lal, he heard that from, since he does the editorial. But Glenn Lal is only focused on oil and gas. Actually, Glenn Lal was invited to Berbice. I didn't want to mention his name. But he was invited to Berbice by someone who contested the local government elections to speak at a gathering. Hopefully, Glenn Lal will get more support from the community by being this guy's, like maybe the attraction to draw votes to him. So one of the guys who invited him to his home and had a meeting there contested against us. And he got wiped out, totally wiped out too. So Glenn Lal should look at that. In fact, if I were you, I'd keep him far from my area if I had any intention to contest elections. So this is, again, that we lost the elections. The PPP lost. There is also the fact that the PNC made some progress in a couple of known PPP places. In a couple, he didn't say where, but in a couple of known PPP places. This is GHK Lal saying a couple of known PPP places. It's a fact. Can't tell us where. This is a fact. We can tell you everywhere we're made inroad, almost every community, but that's a fact. And basically concluding, I'm not going to go through that. Anything else? Concluding, we lost the elections. We lost the elections. because we campaigned harder and we should have won more. We should have won Georgetown and Linden and New Amsterdam and everything else. That would have been one. So regardless of history and regardless of their griping, this is the sort of thing every day, the lies that we hear from people. And so today, I just wanted to maybe go through some more of the lies. I need to do this so that our supporters too, the people who are looking, can hear about what we have to face with. And people who voted for us, including Afro-Guyanese, can understand the lies that they would tell. The Kool-Aid party, they would go about the taxes you'd increase and everything else. They still persist with those lies. And you will see how much work they do in these communities. I want to see what Sharma Solomon and the others are going to do. It's more Kool-Aid and promises, nothing else. They're not going to do anything for the people in London. It will have to be the People's Progressive Party again will do this. So maybe I should not, because I see a long list of people here and what they have said. But when I look at it from Sherrod Duncan to the Deron Adams and everything else, including Mako. I forgot to mention, in Mako, we had a massive increase in our votes. Massive increase in our votes in Mako. You check that yourself. Do the homework. Massive increase in Mako we talk about. So every single area, almost every single area. So I'm not gonna, let me ignore the nonsense that they have here and end here. Thank you.
Mr. Norton at the press conference today would have made a claim or the allegation that the PDP would have paid people in Bartica to vote for them. How would you respond to that?
The same way like I did earlier. That's what they're saying, that we bribe people. This is, if we do this, if we continue to treat these outrageous claims in a dignified way, because a serious newspaper like Starbuck News will do that without getting any evidence whatsoever, then we just help to perpetrate this nonsense. And that is why I'm saying I don't have a problem people reporting facts, but they report, the Morale Waves and the others, they would report the most outrageous claims without even asking for a shred of evidence and say, Norton bribe to vote. You can't bribe people to be enthusiastic. They complain about our people or eating cook-up, like that's what the racist GHK Lal was saying. Eating cook-up and dancing and all of that. That's what he was aiming for. And that's the bribe, bribing people. This really, really disgusting thing. So people came out because they saw the better future with us in their communities. And the people in Bartica too did that. So not a single shred. You should report that in spite of the numerous allegations from nomination day to now, not a shred of evidence, not one person. Adam Harris keeps saying, oh, the people, they pay to wear the red T-shirt and stuff like that. They couldn't even find a single man with all these red T-shirts that got them so mad, and they're still talking about. They couldn't find anybody to say, okay, I got some money to wear the red T-shirt. You're going to see by tomorrow, they're going to find an up-new man to say he got some money. That's what they're good at. So it's a hogwash, nonsense. In Madhya, we don't, as I said before, we don't have a problem with APN recounting Madhya, because we believe if a party, there's one vote separating the party, like in a constituency or any, even at the PR level, that there should be a recount, frankly speaking. But we can't tell them APNU to request a recount. They have to request on their own, but we will support a recount like that, because you remember 2015 in Region 8, there's one vote separating us for the MP seat from that region. And APNU and GCOM on the Search Valley refused us the recount in 2018. We don't want to do the same thing. We can't do it. GCOM has to make that decision, but we will support a party that has a one vote difference. It's not just about winning, it's about fairness. And whenever the formula is worked out and applied, right, about even the tied areas, even if APNU gets some of the chairmanship, we've proven a point already. In Bartica, in all of the areas that are tied, we have beaten them on the popular vote in their strongholds. On the popular vote, we've beaten them. And that popular vote matters. You can't add up the constituency and the popular vote. It's the same person voting 2 times. So on the popular vote, the PR, that's how you count it. And we've beaten them on all the areas, 66 areas on the popular vote. So for me, I'm not even looking at that, the other configuration now of the NDCs. I'm looking, we've already proven a point in this regard. But we will support if they wanted it, and once they do it properly, because sometimes you can only, I think there have been a couple of cases that I heard of where the wrong people request the recount. You have to have a particular person who's accredited to request a recount. So the recount is going on in 4, in constituency 6 in Georgetown. Whatever the outcome is, we will abide by it. It's just 4 votes that separate us in that one area in Georgetown. And you had 100 and something spoiled votes. If it stays APNU, that's fine with us once it's done properly, the recount, if it stays APNU. And in Cuthbert, the recount was done, and they found that the 5 tendered ballots that were mistakenly given are all had PPP X's on them. But right now, we can't decide what will happen there. GCOM will have to make that decision, whether they will accept it or not. If they don't accept the tendered ballots because, you know, they say the law doesn't allow it, we live with the outcome there too. We don't have a problem with that. And then the other areas, I think, they'll dispose of Laretrate and Myconi with no changes. Those are the 4 that we requested. And Madhya is still to go on, I think. So we want to get over this quickly and then move on back to the task. And I want to say to the people who came to see me in the last month about lots of their community issues and stuff, and I said to them, give me up to the 12th. Well, I have to extend it until next week because we're still busy extracting names and stuff. So I see a lot of them coming now to Freedom House. A long line of people. Wait until next week, and then I start meeting the people who waited patiently in the entire month or so last month when I was focused mainly on party responsibilities.
In Georgetown, you would have seen the PDP attracted several possible candidates on their list, but they were not that successful at all. Why do you think they weren't that successful?
It depends, you see, how you define success. Now, they operated, what I think these crossover candidates did, they're very courageous people, very courageous. They knew everything was stacked against them. They knew they were contesting in APNU strongholds. And they made that decision to cross to us. So take constituency 10, for example. The difference in votes was really small. It's just 100 and something. But in that area, we won nearly 500 votes more. That's, for me, that's the definition of success. You go into a stronghold of the PNC and you get 500 votes more. And the same thing happened in constituency 13. And these were again, Tricia Richards, our votes tripled, nearly by nearly 400 and something, 500 votes more. This is East and West Ramville. That's Alboystown, Charlestown. And then in the area that Patricia Green worked to, nearly 500 votes more, or over 500 votes more. That is a great thing. So they knew that these were tough areas to work in. Anyone would know that. Anyone who has any appreciation of the history of Guyana and how many lives APNU told in those areas. But you know what? I want to thank the people in those areas, because our flags flew there untouched. In a few areas, they were knocking them down, but mainly untouched in areas that were APNU areas. Historically, that wouldn't have happened. And that is what irks Cathy Hughes and the GHK Lal and the others. Because people allow us to campaign freely. And we need to be thankful for that, right across the country. People allowed in strongholds of APNU. Today, many families that did not vote for us, they were receptive and often kind to our activists who walk the ground. You know, it was not always like that. I remember in the early 90s, wearing a red T-shirt in the city, in any part of the city, was something at election time was a problem. That's the whole city here, even going down the road in front of Freedom House. That has changed. People wear their red T-shirts, they go into Sophia, East Ramville, Tuckville, everywhere in North Georgetown, KT Campbellville, Kingston, in New Amsterdam, in Tuckburg, in Linden, in Port Morant, in Monrepo, in LBI, in Mabaruma. I forgot to mention Mabaruma, we increased our votes there too. That's another town. Port Kaituma, we increased our seats there. We won Matthews Ridge. We won Matthews Ridge, which was traditionally supportive of APNU. If you analyze the results, you would see all of that. And people accepted that throughout the country. And that is a major plus for our politics too, the maturity of our politics. So I think these candidates, especially who crossed the floor, came to us, they made a difference. Look at New Amsterdam. Lots of people who made a difference, and that's why they keep vilifying. Now I see them toning down on Barbara Pilgrim. But because this is someone who knows APNU and has come to us and can see what the PPP is about. And so I want to thank everyone again. I can just do that because they made a great effort. All of those who voted for the PP, supported us, candidates, everyone. We're overwhelmingly grateful.
So, Jack, I just have to follow.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of speculation. So I wanted to ask directly, what happens to these possible candidates now, particularly those that did not win their
I said to them, I met with everyone before the elections, and I said to them, we're a party. Once you enter our family, that's it. We cling on to you. So all of those people who supported us and voted for us, we see them as part of our family now. And so They're in this for the long haul. You heard Barbara Pilgrim say that herself. I told her that we are in this for the long haul. Many of them have called me and said, we got to work to 2025 now. We got to make sure we start working to increase and to build on what we have. That's the attitude throughout. So those candidates, they're not going to be thrown aside or something else like that. Suddenly they can't see me again, or any PPP officials, like what APNU did when they got into office. After elections, people will continue to be part of our family. That's the extraction will have to take place soon, but I don't want to be premature. It depends on if they're on the PR list too. So if you didn't win in the constituency, you have to be on the PR list to be extracted. Yes, I can do. Right, yes, sure. Right, understand. I think I don't see its resistance in the community. The problem has been that people are getting to see through APNU for what they are. For the 5 years that they didn't care about anyone, Sanctimonious Granger came out too. He didn't care about anyone. The Catiyus and the others, you didn't see them, and Ramjatan and all of Harmon and every one of them, even Norton, I don't know where he was at that time. Any one of them in the communities. People saw them for what? People don't believe them. Even if they get another chance, they're going to do the same thing. That's the nature of the PNC. So a lot of people are wising up to this. That's one. Two, they've seen the work that we have done. And we keep our promises. We campaign on being a trustworthy party, and we will keep our promises in every part of the country, every part of the country. PPP strongholds as well as the other areas. And we'll keep our promises. And they know that. They know they can ask us about it, and we'll still be back working in the communities, from the president, ministers, everybody. And so people are, I think it's a kind of maturity, but they're also willing, even if they don't vote for you, all of them, they're willing to allow you to make your case. But it will take a while to get rid of this mindset of lies. People, sometimes if they see someone who they like telling them, like, I don't know who they're like there, but telling them that, oh, the PPP is going to take away all the contracts. Oh, they took away this man's contract. It could be a fictitious person that they create. APNU does that. Mr. X had his contract, I think, or they bribed voters, or they took away contract without naming specifics. And then people say, hold on a minute, it must be true. It's coming from my leader. But it's a lie. And so we still have work to do at that. Or getting people to understand that this party, the APNU AFC, they thrive on lies. They thrive on confusion and racism. That's what they do. That's all. Yes. We laid out a plan for transforming the city, as we have a plan for every region. Every region. In Port Kaituma, I said up to yesterday, I was talking to leadership there. I said to them, in 4 Mile, we are going to do all the roads, the internal roads. In places like Arnock, in Port Kaituma, and then maybe eventually connecting 4 Mile into Port Kaituma. We're already planning that. In Mabaruma, we have about 3.6 kilometers of roads in the settlement. We're bad, we promise we're gonna do that. We're building the road from Mabaruma now, going all the way to Wauna. The hospitals are gonna be built in these areas. We have a plan for every area. I can tell you the plan for every single community, including Berbice, what our healthcare plans are, roads, etc. Berbice, Region 3, Region 2, every community. So it's not just about Georgetown. It's in every region. I know what the plans are because we have laid them out. We're implementing them. And so we plan to go ahead. In the city, we have a plan to change the city. It would have been immeasurably easier if we had a like-minded council where we could say, you better streamline, live stream the council meetings so that people can see what you're discussing there. But we can't say that to this APNU council now. They don't want that. They don't like transparency. We could have forced them to get all their accounts audited. Now that's an age-old problem in APNU-controlled City Hall or anywhere in the country. We may not be able to do that. But would we continue to improve the lives of the people in Sophia or in South Georgetown or North Georgetown or anywhere else? The answer is yes. We will continue. We're not are deterred by these results. In fact, these are great results. We're encouraged by the results. It makes us want to work even harder. Do you know what it is to increase our votes by over 5,000 in the city when APNU lost votes in the city with a higher turnout even? It's major.
In regards to the wins of the LAAs, can you say how many new LAAs were from preliminary results?
New?
Yeah, like from the 66, how many are new?
Oh, I can't give you all the details, but I can share that with you from the 53 to the other areas. But that should be evident soon. GCOM has already put out those results. So you can go to 2018 and those and do an easy comparison. So it shouldn't be hard for you to get that document. The information is already in the public domain through GCOM. So hopefully you can get it.
Okay,
Yes.
has the opposition made any submissions on the data protection bill? And can you say how soon will be finalizing the model PSA?
We are hoping to finalize the model PSA. Yesterday, we started resuming work on government-related issues. So by today, we're hoping by Monday, the draft Petroleum Act will be put out for public consultations by Monday. Yesterday I met with the minister and the staff, and we had a discussion, and we're aiming for Monday next for the draft Petroleum Act to be made public for views, consultation, etc. The PSA, we have the two models incorporating all the comments before us already, both for deep water and shallow water, because there'll be two different models, one for deep water and one for shallow water. And those have already incorporated the comments, so it's now for another policy review, and I will finalize it because we've already gotten comments from everyone. We're hoping that even at the late stage, the opposition could have still sent in their views. They have not sent in anything. They're waiting for 2025 to send it in, 2025. So those are the two. What was the next one? Oh, the data protection bill, that has to move forward. I don't know where we are exactly on that, but whether we should have received all the comments from the public now. No, I don't know if APNU has, but I doubt it, whether APNU has submitted, but I can almost, with a 99.9% certainty, put my neck on the block that they have not submitted, the APNO has not submitted anything, but will try to make an issue of it when it goes to Parliament. That is how they operate. Very lazy. They don't want to go through the bill and make like technical comments. They just want to make political comments all the time on these essentially technical matters. Yes, please.
So, Dr., can you say if government has started to pay out to indigenous communities from the carbon credit payments, and if any particular challenge has arisen on the village end in terms of preparing these plans and so on?
Okay. So I'm aware that all of the money is already deposited in accounts of the villages, over 240, although some are on the other areas. They're not titled areas, etc., but these are where Amerindians live. So I'm aware they already have bank accounts with the money in the bank account based on their shares, like ranging between, I think, about 10 million to 35 million, depending on the size of the communities. So that is there. Thereafter, they were supposed to have the village development plans and have those approved at a meeting, a council meeting, with at least 60% votes of the people in the area. Some of those plans have come in, and some of them have already been drawing down the money from the fund to implement those plans. How many, I can't give you at this stage, how many of those. But I'm aware that we're making progress in this regard. Anything else? Right. If not, thank you very much.